When Declan, his heart shattered by the heroin, Zoe, dragged himself to the rooftop, I was already decked out in all the jewels from his safe, eagerly awaiting the system's arrival. But when the system finally materialized, its first words were, "Host, why are you wearing the villain's tears?" What? I looked down in shock at the priceless pearl necklace around my neck. Declan is a merman. Those pearls are his tears, the system intoned mournfully. A merman? A merman who cries pearls? My entire worldview crumbled. This wasn't a villain. This was a walking, talking gold mine. This necklace had been hidden in a secret compartment in his study. I'd assumed it was a birthday gift for Zoe, but her birthday party had come and gone, and the gift remained undelivered. So one dark and stormy night, I'd helped myself. I remembered when Declan saw me wearing it, he'd looked at me with a complicated expression and asked, "You like this?" I had rolled my eyes. Duh, who's gonna argue with money? I'd had it appraised. It was worth 120 million. Now that I thought about it, his expression had clearly been saying, "So you like my tears? System, I think he can still be saved." I ripped off the necklace, dug the pregnancy test out of the trash, and sprinted for the roof. At that moment, Declan had already climbed over the railing, half his body dangling 18 stories up. Wait, I held up the pregnancy test, panting. So, how many do you mermen have at once? And do they eat fish food or formula? His foot slipped, and he nearly fell. He clung to the railing, his body hanging in the open air. What? What did you say? Don't want to take responsibility? I was a little disappointed. How had telling him made him want to die faster? Fine then, I'll just throw it back in the ocean when it's born. It was just a one-time accident. He probably didn't even remember. Before I could finish, a dark figure vaulted back over the railing and pinned me against the wall. You dare. A tidal wave of fury churned in his eyes. I secretly smiled, letting out a sigh of relief. Excellent. The gold mine was secure. After Declan came back from the roof, he wasn't himself. He settled me in the bedroom, then immediately locked himself in the study. I pressed my ear to the door and heard a frantic conversation. Calcium supplements during pregnancy. Seaweed. Wait, doctor, are you saying a human carrying a merman baby needs to soak in seawater every day? His voice suddenly rose. But she's pregnant. I was trying so hard not to laugh, my stomach hurt. Who would have thought that the dark, ruthless villain would be on the phone frantically consulting an obstetrician, his voice trembling? When the study door suddenly opened, I nearly fell into his arms. Declan quickly caught me by the waist, the heat of his palm searing through my clothes. He looked down at me, his gaze falling to my flat stomach, his Adam's apple bobbing. I'm hungry, I interrupted him, my tone righteous. I want your homemade seafood congee. Soon the clattering of pots and pans came from the kitchen. The butler stood at the doorway, hesitating. Sir, nearly burned down the kitchen the last time he cooked, he said. Oh, I replied, it's fine, he's rich. If he burns it down, we'll just move. The butler was speechless. An hour later, Declan emerged with a soot-streaked face, carrying the finished product. It looked okay, probably not poisonous. Just as I was about to take a spoonful, he pressed a hand on mine. Wait, he carefully picked out all the tiny shell fragments, tested the temperature, and then handed the spoon back. I deliberately frowned. It's too bland. He reached for the salt, but his hand froze mid-air. He turned, opened his tablet, and began earnestly searching for the recommended daily sodium intake for pregnant women. I was speechless, and so began my life of being pampered like an empress. In the morning, there was fresh squeezed orange juice made by the villain himself. When I bathed, he treated me like a fragile piece of porcelain. Even when I kicked him awake in the middle of the night with a leg cramp, he would gently massage it for me.